No, absolutely not.
Why not? That was a popular movie.
I just did one bad movie review. I can't do two in a row. You realize what that's gonna do to my mental stability?
You know what it's gonna do with my mental stability? It'd make you more popular on YouTube.
But at the cost of my own sanity.
Okay, then what are you thinking of doing?
I don't know. Something I like. Something that has subject material to talk about. I thought about La La Land, but let's face it, no one's gonna watch that.
Come on, that was the night you proposed to me.
Well, yeah, but again, there's not enough substance to talk about. That, in comparison to the Emoji Movie, which was something that I hated, I want to do something that I like, but has enough to talk about. Balance things out. What could we do from 2016 that was controversial?
What about Ghostbusters? You know they redid that, right?
What could we do from 2016 that was controversial and still good?
Oh.
I don't know. I can't think of one. There's not one movie from 2016 that follows any person that was still good.
What if it wasn't a person?
Oh my god, babe, you're a genius. Hello everyone, I'm the Dogmatic director, and no, the word dogmatic has nothing to do with my overcompulsive love for dogs. Okay, maybe a little, but regardless, it's kind of hard to deny the fact that I absolutely love dogs.
I mean, what's there to hate about them? Dogs are some of the most loyal companions a guy could ask for. They're absolutely adorable, too. Big to small, they live to make people happy, and there's plenty to love about them.
But I am the Dogmatic director, and as that, I have a formula to uphold. That formula being that I have to review all movies, good ones, bad ones, regardless of whether or not I like them. And one movie that fits into that particular category is A Dog's Purpose.
There's a specific reason I chose this movie to review, which I will get to, mind you. A Dog's Purpose takes the perspective of a dog's multiple lives through the process of reincarnation. The belief that when you end one life, you are born a completely new person somewhere else, depending on your karma. And in this case, every time a dog dies, they reincarnate into a new dog. An interesting premise, true. But the controversy surrounding this movie almost left this movie to Rottweiler.
Oh, piss off! That was funny!
So the question is, did this movie deserve the hate that it got? And is this movie more than just an advertisement for dog food?
Well, we're not gonna figure out just sitting around talking about it, so let's take a look.
We open with narration from our main character, a newborn puppy voiced by Josh Gad.
And he's not overly annoying in this role, unlike other things he's been in.
This first scene in particular shows him growing up as a puppy for a brief moment, and then being captured by dog catchers. This leads to nothing. They put the dog down.
Huh. Sorry guys, didn't realize the movie was that short. Bottom line, 1 out of 10. The only point it has is it has dogs in it. So I guess that wraps up this review. I'll see you next time. Bye! Oh, no. As much as I'm sure you guys would want to be it that quick, that's not how the movie ends.
This scene actually serves to establish how the whole reincarnation process in the movie works, which admittedly does feel kind of rushed, but it at least sets up the frame of mind of how it will happen from here on out. At this point, Josh Gad reincarnates into a new dog, this time a golden retriever, who was picked up by some rather neglectful owners. They leave him in a truck while they hang out in a bar, causing heat to build up inside the car.
This brings me to a point I wanted to discuss about this movie.
The one thing about me as a dog lover is that when there's a dog in the movie, I tend to attach to that character more easily. It's a little harder for human characters, probably because I hate people. But that said, it makes it all the more painful to see dogs go through pain than when humans do. See, when I saw War for the Planet of the Apes, there was this moment in the movie where a guy was killed by a grenade out of nowhere, and it was so stupid that I burst out laughing at that point.
I'm sorry, I just find gratuitous death amusing sometimes, okay?
But with dogs, it's a different story. Dogs are loyal and compassionate and only seek to make their masters happy. So that when they're put through pain or even death, it's gut-wrenchingly painful for me to watch.
So what if it's biased? I don't care. Dogs deserve to live forever, damn it.
And humans don't?
Oh, God, no, of course not.
Lucky for us, the dog is rescued by our first human owner, Ethan. Him and his mother take him home and ask his dad if they can keep the dog. Reluctantly, he agrees, and the dog is given a name, Bailey. It's from this point that we start seeing Ethan's life span from childhood to adulthood, and we're able to take it all with each step. A few incidents here and there, some awkward scenes with the dog causing havoc with the dog's boss, the list goes on.
My favorite part is when the cat's the butt end of the joke. What? Cats are assholes.
But in this transition, we see the family go through changes as well. Ethan's dad leaves the picture, Ethan gets into a relationship, the whole works. I won't give too much away about these as there's something you'll really want to see for yourself. Anyway, by the time Ethan gets to high school, his future's looking pretty bright in the career of football. There's absolutely nothing stopping him and absolutely nothing that could possibly slow him down.
What happens to him? You're pretty much blatantly telling us that something bad is gonna happen, so what is it?
I guess this brings me to my first major criticism of the film. It's awfully predictable. It doesn't help that most of the characters in this movie are somewhat two-dimensional, but the plot is as predictable as possible, like to the point where they might as well just blare out the next scene over the current one by megaphone. But it seems that somebody's a tad bit jealous. Todd, one of Ethan's friends, decides to use a firework to set Ethan's home ablaze. Everyone gets out, but Ethan is forced to jump down, breaking one of his legs.
Well, I guess his football career doesn't really have a leg to stand on anymore.
And as you can imagine, things go downward from there. Ethan and his girlfriend break up, Ethan has to give up his career in football and instead take up a career in agriculture, and when he leaves, he has to leave Bailey behind.
Humans are complicated. They do things dogs can't understand. Like leave.
At this point, Bailey has gotten older, and he's been along for the whole ride with Ethan. So naturally, him leaving is just confusing to him. But it's at this point that Bailey has lived almost all of his life, and he is ready to pass on. Ethan gets word of it, and visits Bailey one last time before he goes. A fitting end, yes, but that's a kind of a sad note to end on for a movie like this.
Maybe this movie's got more realism in it than I thought.
And with that, Bailey reincarnates into the next dog. A German Shepherd this time. It's a girl dog this time. And not just that, she's being bred to be a police dog.
Ooh, boy. If this leads to some awesome police action, then I am totally down for this.
This is where the movie does something really interesting. It actually starts to play with different tones with the different lives that we go through. You'll see this a couple more times through the movie, but it's great to see the director flex different ideas and different scenarios in one movie. Bailey, who has now been renamed Ethan, is paired with a cop named Carlos, played by John Ortiz, who, by the looks of it, has been on his own for some time. He had someone to call his own, but now lives in seclusion in his own apartment. Ellie is still a new entity to him, so he's not quite open to her just yet, but over time, he grows to love her just as much as any family member.
And the best part about this is, most of it is non-verbal.
The director does a good job of establishing this guy's backstory without actually saying them out loud, and I commend that kind of commitment. It shows that the director understands that audiences aren't all dumb and can figure this stuff out on their own, and I absolutely love it when they put these kind of things to the test. We get to see Bailey learn and grow with every new situation, and although this can be a bit
repugnant sometimes? Oh, come on, that was funny!
It's always interesting to see Bailey develop as he goes on with his additional lives, even his past experiences carrying over into his newer lives. And that's what makes him so special as a character, not just a dog.
Alright, but enough of the sappy stuff. Are we gonna get some cop action or what?
Well, sure enough, we do. We get to see an entire dispatch and chase with the cop, Ellie, and some random kidnapper. It's not lighthearted either. This part is actually really tense.
Which brings me to the main reason I chose to review this movie. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the controversy encounter.
This scene right here, where the kidnapper throws the victim into the water and Ellie goes in to save her, is the very reason I wanted to talk about this movie. If you aren't aware of the whole mess that occurred because of the scene right here,
which, seeing as how it was blasted all over social media, it's kind of hard to see how you wouldn't hear about this.
This scene in particular was hit pretty hard, no thanks to by far one of the biggest testicles of a news outlet.
No, the other one. That's the one.
TMZ put out a video on set of where they were shooting this particular part of the movie. I'll admit, when I first saw this, it did look rather concerning. The dog does kind of look kind of scared, but then, again, this is TMZ, so I knew there had to be more. Now, the clip doesn't leave much to the imagination. It's short, it's poorly shot, and you can't tell what's completely going on from this angle, and it even cuts out before more can be shown. But, in an article posted by American Humane, they stated that in a third-party investigation of the footage shown, it was determined that it was indeed a mischaracterization of the production's integrity. The video was deliberately edited for the purpose of misleading the public and stoking outrage. In fact, the two scenes shown in the edited video were filmed at different times. The first scene was stopped as the dog shows signs of stress. The dog was not forced to swim in the water at any time. A full spectrum of preparation and safety measures were in place, including the following. The dog was selected for his love of water and is professionally trained and conditioned for the water scenes over the course of 6 weeks using positive training techniques. 5 different experts, including safety specialists and animal handlers, were present to supervise and safeguard the dog throughout the water scene. And even during the last scene, handlers immediately assisted the dog out of the water, at which point he was placed in a warming tent and received an examination that found no signs of stress. Now, eyewitness reports said that the dog wanted to go back into the water, but out of abundance of caution, the American Humane stopped filming any more scenes with the dog. Not to mention, a week before this article was released, a health examination was conducted over said dog and determined that the dog was, in fact, healthy. There were no signs of post-trauma to the dog, and it was even more apparent that the dog enjoyed working on that particular scene. But let's not forget the glaring thing that this could only have been filmed 15 months before the movie was released, since that's the only time this particular part was being shot. And consider that this article was suspiciously released a week before the movie was supposed to release.
You know what? That hasn't stopped TMZ. And frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled something like this for a dog's purpose too. Well, you know what, TMZ? I'm not letting you slide away from this scot-free. You deserve to be reprimanded for all the bull you pulled on this thing. Heck, on all the news stories that you release. You are a despicable, detestable, abhorrent excuse of a news outlet. And I hope to God karma comes down on you hard for the bull you try to pull on this. Sorry, now that's out of my system, let's get back to the review.
The girl is saved, but it looks like the cop may be in danger. Ellie makes it in time to save him, but...
What the f***?
That guy just shot Ellie without a second thought. What kind of monster does that? And this scene goes back to what I was saying earlier, how I feel more attached to dogs than normal people. Because this scene right here will go on record as one of the few movie scenes that got me to bawl like crazy. It doesn't happen often, but this is definitely a more depressing scene out of all of them. And with that, Bailey concludes his life as Ellie and once again reincarnates, this time into a Pembroke Welsh Corgi, who has been adopted by a young woman named Maya and is renamed Tino. And,
There's really not much to say about this one.
I'm not really exaggerating either. The dog with Ellie before had the same problem. While we got the whole nearly 30 minutes with Ethan as Bailey, dogs number 2 and 3, Ellie and Tino, are kinda glossed over. Almost like they were rushed through those 2 parts. I personally would have liked to see more with those 2 dogs. Give the movie more time to flesh out those 2 stories instead of, just rushing through them.
But then again, Tino's segment feels like it was just a filler moment for the writers.
The dog pretty much lives a spoiled but happy life. He gets to eat human food often, he's treated well, he gets to be with a girl dog, and he's pretty much enjoys his life to the very end. And with that, he passes on to the next life, which is the last one we see in this movie. This time he incarnates into, I wanna guess, a St. Bernard Australian Shepherd mix. And in this part, he's...
Oh God, not the meth heads!
Yep. The epitome of the trailer trash couple stereotype adopts him, and the wife names him Waffles.
What kind of name is that?
And they take him home. Well, home being the trashy side of town where no one knows how to use their driveway and everyone's needlessly grumpy.
Must be in Missouri.
And this scene here shows the dark side of some pet owners. The man chains him up in the front yard, and as we can see, he's badly neglected. And while this is a sad scene to see, what's even more sad is this kind of thing happens every day. There are so many people who still do this to this day, and the movie actually does a good job of illustrating this. Over time-lapse, we see that they're forced to give up Waffles, but the man does it in the most pathetic way possible. He takes Waffles to an empty part of town and just leaves him there, abandoning him there.
And again, while this does suck to see, this problem does happen.
Approximately 7.6 million companion animals enter animal shelters nationwide every year, and of those, approximately 3.9 million are dogs. This is a very real problem that's still ongoing, and again, the movie does a good job of drawing attention to this issue. But anyways, Waffles begins to wander, but senses something familiar. He leaves town and finds...
Had I been here before?
Okay, I guess we are in Missouri.
I was just making a joke earlier, but seriously, he went from the trashy town to Wheatfield in a day on foot. Where else in America would that make perfect sense? Waffles wanders in this new Wheatfield until he finds... Wait, what? Really? I thought it was fishy that you left that first dog's plot unfinished. Now it's obvious why. And nope, you're not seeing things. That's the farm from before. And wouldn't you know it, Ethan is still there. Now an older man, played by Dennis Quaid. At first he does the right thing and returns Waffles to the pound, but then comes back the next day and adopts him, renaming him Buddy. And this goes as well as you'd expect. Ethan's old girlfriend comes back, Buddy helps them get back together, and all ends well. It's corny, yeah, but it's nice to see things all rounded up.
And that was A Dog's Purpose, and of course...
Not done.
Huh?
There's still 7 minutes to the movie.
What?
Wait, we still aren't done? What else is there to do? It's over. Everything's rounded together. There's nothing left to...
Where did you learn how to do that, buddy?
What?
Boss dog? Are you the boss dog?
What?
No.
Yes, it's me, Ethan. It's me.
Bailey?
What?
You went the unrealistic route and made Ethan recognize him as the dog from his childhood? I get that you're wanting a cute factor in this, but even I have to call bull at some point. This just puts a damper on the whole movie. In fact, the fourth dog should have just been with the meth couple and then have the dog wander on his own for a bit, have him save a kid like he did his Ellie, then reflect on what he's learned. But no, he had to have the stupid Hallmark ending. Yeah, way to go, movie. You're now on the same level as Hallmark. You happy? So yeah, Ethan renames him Bailey once again, gives him his old collar, and the movie ends with the dog's inner monologue on what a dog's purpose really is. Great.
So, that was A Dog's Purpose, and... well, it's got dogs in it.
But in the end, it's really just an over-drawn-out story like we've heard before, just not in the way we've heard it before. It's pretty obvious that this movie was made for people who like dogs, so if you really aren't into them, there's really no reason for you to see this movie. Honestly, while this movie does have some strong points, it falls apart in the third act, being with the storyline with a shepherd mix. We could have done without going back to Ethan, but other than that, I'd still say go check it out and see the things the movie did right. It's still got plenty of reasons to be considered watchable, and if you love dogs like I do, you'll definitely enjoy it the most.
And that wraps up this review. Makes me really want a dog myself, but anyways, I'm the Dogmatic director, and... Hopefully you didn't find my review Shih Tzu. I don't give a shit!